Hi, I'm Rob Durham, and this week's topic comes from a buddy's question here in St. Louis. He asked me what he should be listening for or looking for in his videos of his set. So I'm going to go through that with you today.
He tours clubs and colleges all over. He's just published his third book. Give a nice big round of applause for Rob Durham.
I think reviewing your set, it's more about things that you're doing wrong than what's actually working. It's easy to identify the things that work well. The first thing I would do is watch the video muted. Just watch for your body language. Are you giving too much attention to one side of the room? Are you making eye contact with the audience? Facial expressions, things like that. So just watch it without sound and see what impression it leaves on you. The next thing has to do with the jokes themselves. Time and see how long it takes to get to each big punchline in your joke. Make sure it's not taking too much setup to get to it. I think by hearing your setups, you can really trim down some words. That's one of the number one mistakes that new comics have, is their setups are longer than they need to be. They ask a question to the crowd and setting up that way, and it's unnecessary. Get to the punchline. Set up, punchline. That's all it takes. Another thing to listen for is bad habits between words. Are there ums or you-knows? Things that you say way too often because you don't have the jokes completely memorized yet. Look for those tics, see if you can trim those out in your set. I've noticed a lot of the newer open micers all seem to have the same cadence in their joke telling. There's a lot of similar cadence. There's a lot of up-talking, which I've talked about before. Don't do that. I don't know. It's not your voice. I'm not sure which comic or set of comics you're emulating in that, but see if you can skip that. It's just going to bring you to finding your own voice a lot better. So listen to that and compare it to other comics and say, do I sound exactly like they do? Another thing you want to look out for is make sure you don't sound like one of your favorite comics. I know there was my first year or two, I really loved Dave Attell. So there was a line or two where I tried to sound like him, and it just looks bad. You're not that famous comic, so a good comedy fan will spot that and call you out on it right away. Another thing to observe is your speed. I know I'm guilty of going too fast a lot of times. So are you going too slow, too fast? Make sure you're not stepping on your own jokes. Got to let the laughter breathe sometimes, especially in a bigger venue. So make sure you're not starting jokes too quickly. Then on the other hand, make sure you're not letting the laughter completely die down to nothing before you begin the next one. The timing of it is something you'll develop over the years, but make sure you're not one extreme or the other. Make sure your volume is good. Make sure you're loud enough or not too loud. Also check, how are you holding the microphone? Is it too close, too far? Are you holding it in a weird way? That can be very distracting to an audience member. So make sure you're holding it like everyone else. I'm not going to go into that, but you should be able to figure that one out. And obviously, new material. You always want to record when you're trying new material. And if it works really well, memorize that phrasing. Figure out exactly how you said it and try and repeat that the next time up. It's very frustrating when you get a joke to work on its first time, but then it never does that again. You have to figure out, what did I do that first time that made it work so well? So always record when you're trying new stuff, and it'll help you, keep that new material working. Another reason to record is to kind of build with what you have. If you can't just sit down and write bits, I know I have a hard time with that. Go ahead and listen to your whole act and figure out which taglines you can make better. Where are the callbacks available? By listening to your own set from beginning to end, you can actually improve a lot of your jokes and build on what you have instead of starting to write completely new bits. This will work wonders in lengthening the amount of time that you have. If you have any other questions or topics you'd like me to cover, feel free to email me at robdurhamcomedy@gmail.com. You can check out my website at robdurhamcomedy.com. And if you want to check out my book, it's on Amazon. It's called Don't Wear Shorts on Stage. And it has all the guides from your first open mic to getting on the road and building your way up through the comedy food chain. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.